this country. People who heard the news earlier today said to me they felt sick to the bottom of their stomachs. Nobody below the age of 75 can ever remember a time when she wasn't the Queen of this country. It was interesting. Liz Truss was her 15th Prime Minister. Her first, of course, was Winston Churchill. And Churchill said, "We are entering a new Elizabethan age." And my goodness me, how right he was. I'm joined by Nigel Nelson, political editor of the Sunday Mirror. Nigel, at our age, we've never known anything different, have we?
No, not at all. And although this comes as no real surprise, you can see by everyone's faces here, it comes as a massive shock. Somehow you've got this idea the Queen was just going to go on, that her mother lived to 101.
Yeah.
On the basis of that, we thought, oh, well, maybe we've got another 5 years off her, and that's why it is such a huge shock to everybody.
And it's happened very quickly. I mean, there she was 2 days ago, performing her constitutional duty, looking frail, yes, but the end has come very, very quickly.
Yes, it has. And the whole thing was she was looking so cheery when she was...
Big smile.
Yep, when she saw one Prime Minister out and saw a new Prime Minister in, called Elizabeth, interestingly.
Yes.
She really, you know, she actually looked, although frail, well, she's 96.
Yeah.
You thought, oh, well, obviously she's fine. I think we began to get some idea things were going a bit wrong yesterday because she was due to swear the Cabinet in via Zoom link. So they all gathered in the Cabinet Office to pick up their seals of office, and she was due to do that, and that ceremony couldn't go ahead. So technically we don't have any Cabinet Ministers at the moment.
Because they've not been...
Because they've not actually been sworn in.
Right, I understand. So when they said the King and the Queen Consort will remain in Balmoral tonight, but go to London tomorrow, that's because that task has to be performed.
Well, I mean, they can do it from there in a sense,
yeah.
But yes, I mean, certainly King Charles now has that function to perform.
She also, of course, was due at 5 o'clock last night to have a Privy Council meeting, an online Zoom Privy Council meeting. Of course, that means the world to her because that engages the Commonwealth, doesn't it? And when we heard that wasn't going ahead, that was another bad sign, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think that you began to realise that she really wasn't well. And yes, I mean, the Privy Council was something that she was really keen on, wanted to keep the whole thing going. I mean, you know, this goes back 1,000 years, effectively, the Privy Council. And in a sense, for Britain, it's a kind of alternative government. If everything else broke down, the Privy Council would take over. But they perform a number of administrative duties, constitutional duties. She's been very keen on it, and unless she really couldn't make it, she would have been there.
Yes, and I mentioned the Commonwealth. That meant the world to her, didn't it? When you think about it, she ascended to the throne only 5 years after India got its independence. During the course of her first 25 years, a huge number of countries became independent countries. And yet, for the first time in the history of humanity, a country that had an empire managed to form an association, a friendship association called the Commonwealth, which she was the head of. That was a massive achievement of hers, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it shows what a great diplomat she was, apart from anything else.